And that was One Republic, the song titled Rescue Me, here on the Smashes Show on Horizon Radio. You know how we do it every Friday with amazing music. And our special guest today goes by the name of Gilberto Perez Jr. Gilberto, how are you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm doing great, Idris. It's great to be here with you this evening. Excited to...
Hold on, you have to restart because we didn't get that.
Okay, great. Just really excited to be here, Idris. Wonderful to be able to share with your public, your radio listeners that are probably all over the world tuning in. And so it's exciting just to share a little bit about what's going on the campaign trail and just sort of be here with you.
Now, I remember the first time I met you, because the way it is with me here is I bring people that people that are already in the community. First time I met you was some years ago at AMBS.
That's right.
And it was like at an MLK event. Yeah. And walk us through that.
Well, if I remember correctly, it was MLK weekend, and I was part of a panel that was celebrating the Martin Luther King Jr. week that weekend, that day, and would have been a part of a panel that were sort of talking about some of the issues of how Martin Luther King Jr. was doing work in the community and trying to build that beloved community. And I remember meeting you after the event, and you came up to me and we greeted one another, and you had some exciting ideas that I don't remember all of them or remember any of them, but I do remember that you were excited.
Yes.
So I thought, well, this would be a really cool person to get to know. And we have gotten to know each other a little bit more over the number of years. So yeah, it's just really great to be here.
And for all our audience, I know you in the community. I know you through Goshen College. I know you through the work that you're doing in the community. Can you give them a brief introduction? Who is Gilberto Perez Jr.?
Yeah, great. I am Gilberto Pérez Jr., and I've lived here in Goshen for about 19 years. 19 years, wow. Originally from South Texas, and my family is from Mexico. My parents were born here in the U.S., and it's for my grandparents. But so we've been here a few generations, and we grew up in Texas, and over the years I've moved up a little north, and then actually lived in Puerto Rico for a while. I am a social worker by training, and so I've worked with a lot of families and different communities on issues of community development, and also how families sort of build family and how do they be family. So that's been part of my growing up and my professional career a little bit. I'm married. I have 3 children. My wife is an English language learner teacher, and my daughter is a junior at Goshen College studying environmental sciences. Her name's Ariana. And then I have a son, Felix, who's studying at Harvard, and he's studying economics as a freshman, first year. And Camila is a sophomore, which this evening, I'm not sure if I'll be able to stay the full hour because she's got a presentation at the Foreman Field with the marching band.
Oh, wow. We don't want you to miss that.
She said, Dad, you cannot miss that. It's the last home performance.
Oh, wow.
And so I'll stay for a little while, and we're just really excited to be here. That's a little bit of who I am. I enjoy music, enjoy playing guitar and some singing, but I haven't done it in a while, so that's why I didn't bring my guitar.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a treat. Maybe next time.
Next time.
Now, I understand you feel different roles in Goshen College. Can you take us through some of the roles and the duties that you performed in Goshen College over the years?
Yeah, so over the years, so I've been at Goshen College. This is my 8th year, and I have taught. So I've been a faculty member. I've taught social work classes in the social work department. And then I worked in the Center for Intercultural and International Education, which was really looking at building partnerships with communities here locally and sort of across the state and the country on recruiting students of color and building bridges with students and their families. And more recently, I'm serving as the Vice President for Student Life and Dean of Students. So I get to work with all of our students. So we have about 750 students.
Oh, wow.
And be able to work daily with them, work with the staff on making sure they're having a good experience at the college, offer counseling services, student leadership development, campus safety, campus activities.
And that is in your current role as the Dean of Student Life.
Yeah, so Vice President of Student Life. My
President.
main role is there is to basically oversee the work that happens with students and making sure that staff have adequate resources, make sure that staff are doing the work that they are supposed to be doing, of leadership development, community engagement, all those kinds of things. So.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, if you're just tuning in, this is 104.3 FM Horizon Radio. This is the Smasher Show, and we have a special guest in the studio by the name of Gilberto Perez Jr., and he's taking us through his role as an educator and an administrator too.
Administrator, right.
In Goshen College. And we're going to be asking him more questions, but right now we're going to take a quick musical break. And the Smasher Show on Horizon Radio. We'll be right back. Otra Trago, that's it. Coming up next. All right.
Thank you. That was good. I hope. You're a little nervous here.
Hey, it's a family-friendly community radio station. Nobody is getting on the hook for anything here. It's perfect.
So when you're playing music, but you're still live, right?
Yes, we are, but we can't play music because Facebook, for some reason, does not recognize that we're a radio station. So every time it penalizes us, I mean, if I was the one, I go back and I write to them that we're a not-for-profit radio station with license to broadcast while we're doing our show right now, and we're doing that in that confine of that license, and they will release the song. But for other DJs, usually they don't get to be able to do that, so they mute it or they take the videos offline.
Interesting, but because you have the license, you have enough.
We should be able to do that without problem. And look at all that stuff we have. WLEG, we are a true radio station.
Yeah.
So we should be able. We're licensed to use music the way we're using it right now.
Sure.
But for some reason, they won't let us. They won't let us.
Tell me your name again.
Luatobi.
Luatobi. Very nice. Wonderful. And you're from Nigeria, is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir. Nigeria, West Africa.
Sure. I have a story about my bag.
Your bag. Okay.
So I was traveling from Ghana to Benin. And so we went from Ghana to Togo and then Benin. And I left my bag on the bus. So my bag went all the way to Lagos, Nigeria, and then on the way back, it stopped in Cotonou. And they gave me my bag, and I had my bag.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't have any clothes for about 4 days.
Oh, wow.
So I borrowed clothes from my friends and bought some shirts, some sort of typical Beninese shirts.
Yeah. Do you still have them?
I have a couple, yeah. I wear them every now and then.
Keepsake.
Yeah. So whenever I tell people, I've not been to Nigeria. I've not been.
But my bag is.
But my clothes and my shirts and my underwear and everything went to Nigeria and back. Yeah, we were there total we were there for about 3.5 weeks in Ghana and then in Benin. So yeah, it was a great trip. It was amazing.
Wow.
And now this coming summer, we're going to Kenya.
Okay, cool. Good. SSD team?
No, just as a family.
Oh, wow.
Just to go and visit and learn and go to some national parks, museums.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So I have some friends we have some students from Kenya, but then I have a friend he's a Methodist bishop in this whole region, and he's from Kenya. And so we're ready to go on pretty soon.
Oh, no, we're not.
So how do you know when we're supposed to go?
Oh, she already said she's going to play another song.
Oh, you want 2 songs?
Yeah.
You like the music? Don't really like your daddy talking too much.
Yeah, she won the Little Big Idea grant to do a program for Elko County youth.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so this This is what
This
the
is
show
your
that
show?
she's doing is. No, her show is the first hour.
Oh, from 6 to 7.
Yes, it's 7.
Wonderful.
So fulfilling the obligation of the
On
grants.
a radio
So,
station.
yeah.
Or a radio program.
Yes.
And how many weeks or how many months or what is the
Well, it's supposed to be an ongoing one, but she spoke to Jason. Jason said whenever she's tired of it, she can quit. So
With Jason
Samuel, because we're gonna have her on there on Sundays, but he's been busy. He hasn't communicated
Okay.
what's happening with us yet.
Oh, look at you. Oh, I'm sitting among famous people. Where did you go? Oh, it's
What did you click it or what did it
It's loading.
It's a little on the slope.
Uh.
There it is. How much money did they give you?
$1,093.
$1,093, not 1,100, but 1,093. That was your budget?
Yeah.
Nice. That's exciting. And so you know how to work this whole thing. I've been watching. Be a DJ like your dad. Well, actually, you already are. What grade are you in?
5th.
Okay, and what school?
Heritage,
Heritage. Where is that?
Middlebury.
Oh, so you all live in Middlebury?
No, we live in Jefferson County. Goshen
Ah,
address,
sure.
but Middlebury School
Yeah,
District. So,
sure, Jefferson.
Yeah.
We almost bought a house out there one time. When we first moved, we were thinking about maybe living out that way because I worked in LaGrange.
oh.
So we thought it would be easier just to get on 20.
Yeah, easy access to 20.
15, 20, straight across.
Mhm.
But then we ended up buying a house in South Goshen and that made it even farther.
Yeah. But you can jump from 15 to 20 and then to the grades.
It's loading. Oh, look at you. And who is that lady there?
Amy Washam, the chair of the Vibrant Community, and she's the chair of the Little Big Idea Grants too.
That's cool. And did you spend all the money already?
Did I?
You have something left, just a little left, but yeah, but for everything that she listed, she already got it. So, but we're thinking of getting like maybe a mobile DJ speaker like that to go with what she has. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Because we got some of the stuff for less than what she anticipated.
So part of the grant was to get some equipment.
Yes, some stuff that when she shut in, she can voice track the stuff, and we can just bring it to the studio and stuff, and stuff to learn on too. But we're trying to also get other youths in the county involved. So we don't want it to just be a one show for her.
Right.
We want to get like a block of shows, maybe kids from Boys and Girls Club, because they have multimedia stuff too.
Oh,
And we're gonna get on that.
going back on?
Yes, we'll go back on. You're still listening to the Smash It Show on Horizon Radio 104.3 FM. The station is bridging cultural diversity with music and information. Your number one bilingual community radio station in Michiana. And we have here in the studios with us Gilberto Perez Jr. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Well, doing great. Listen to the music here and get to know a lot about this Little Big Idea grant.
Yes.
Famous.
Well, I don't know.
We would interview her and not me.
Oh, we'll get that out of the way sometime. Now, still talking about you now. We just talked about you talked to us about yourself, your role here at Goshen College.
Mhm.
And right now, I want to ask you a question. When did you decide that, I know you study social work.
Yeah.
So you want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point did you decide you want to be active in the community, and what triggered you, and what is the transition like? As a community leader, somebody focused on the community.
Yeah, I tell people that many times our journey begins. The work that we do began like many years ago,
Mhm.
and so I remember as a young boy, sort of pre-adolescent, when my parents they welcomed a lot of folks who were immigrants and that were going from one place to another, like transition to another place, another country. And so there were many times that we would welcome people to our home and we would listen to stories about migration and we would help individuals find resources in the community. And so when I say we, it would be my parents, right? So my parents were pastors at that time, but I really thought that they, you know, if I look at it now and the work that I've done in the past, I'm like, nah, they were social workers.
Yeah.
They were Christian social workers. They were people of God who were faith. They were looking to be involved in community. And so over the years, I have tried to mirror the work that they did in their lives and the work that they actually still do in their mid-70s. You know, they're active in community. They're volunteering.
Oh wow!
They're painting buildings. He's getting up on a tree to cut branches. They're going to nursing homes to, you know, talk to people, you know, comb the baby's hair, paint their nails, just be present. And so over the years, for me, the journey of being in community was really kind of like sort of natural because that's what I saw growing up. And so the work of being in community these days, or the last, you know, years that I've lived here in the Goshen community and before where we lived in Puerto Rico, was in some ways living out some of the things that I grew up with and finding that joy and that love for seeing people connect with other people, helping people connect with resources, helping people connect to the church where they might get some support, helping them connect with the library where they might have their children, you know, learn how to check out books, get a library card, learn how, you know, to find, you know, where's the closest store to our home, those kinds of things. So how do you connect people who are experiencing, you know, poverty to the food bank? And so those are the things that over the years I learned to do with my parents, and then when I studied, and then when I learned more about the beauty of us spending time connecting dots, people connecting to resources, right? So places like this, such as Radio Horizonte, that connects people through music, but it connects DJs from across the globe, right? So you think about it, you got these volunteers who are excited, motivated about music, but they're actually, my guess is there's something within them that they want to share, and they want to talk to people, and they want to let people know how to connect to this and this and that. Where it's a bilingual education radio station that's focused on higher education. Trying to get kids into college. Wow, what a great mission. And so part of the community work that I've done over the years is helping people find the resource that they need.
And I want to interject.
Yeah.
When I was going to Goshen College, there was a professor there by the name of Skip Burnett.
Skip Burnett, yeah.
Yes, and he taught literature to international students. And the one relation that I want to make, the one, you know, comparison I want to make, is he taught from a book, Hunger for Memory. And a part of it was I think it's from that book, but it's in those series. In those times, he was talking about things that really happened. There were cultural brokers. So if you're new to the community, I mean, I didn't get it when I came to this community, but when he taught it, I was like, that is a neat idea. So what you're talking about with people coming from other culture and your parents being the social worker, cultural broker, connecting them to resources, that is awesome. I respect that a lot. I respect that a lot. And right now, what is the comparison when we talk about, you know, needs that you can make between Puerto Rico and Goshen, Indiana, as a place?
Yeah, so when we lived in Puerto Rico, I worked at a mental health center and worked at a school, and also worked with hospice patients, so individuals who were at their life, you know, end of life stage. And I think a lot of people think about different places where you say, you know, what's different and how are people accessing resources in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I would compare the things that are happening in Puerto Rico, we've been gone for a number of years now for sure, so it's difficult to
probably pinpoint whatever the current situation
But
is.
at the time that when we were there, I think a lot of the things that people were experiencing was how do you access the mental health resources? This is what was my area in hospice. And sometimes there weren't enough resources, or you would go to homes where very, very meager, very poor homes where they had very few resources. And then if you compare that to here, people still are in poverty, but they have more. And so it sometimes becomes relative of what poverty is, because, you know, there were people in Puerto Rico that I was working with that had very little, and they might get, you know, $80 a month of their Social Security check.
Oh, wow.
Some people actually got $35 a month from their Social Security check. So their work experience didn't really deposit a lot into that account. And you have people up here who might get a Social Security check, but it might be, you know, $200, it might be $400. And so the amount of resources that even sometimes are available here in this country sometimes doesn't compare to how people are experiencing poverty in other countries, because the country that we live in here in the United States has so many resources and so many places to go to get support. And in where I lived in Puerto Rico, there weren't that many organizations that one could go to. And so you just go over and over to that same organization, and that organization would say, ya no tenemos, you know, we don't have any more.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so then
it's so sad though, because Puerto Rico is also the United States of America. But how come there's so much that's still like not done for Americans? Still, because it's hard to fathom. Because when I was in Africa, man, there were different stories that I heard, and when I came here, I was surprised. I got a culture shock, you know. But still, Puerto Rico, though. Oh my goodness. Well, we're gonna take a quick music break, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, let's wash this one away, and then we'll be right back with more conversation with Gilberto Perez here on the Smash Show on Horizon Radio, and we have a song titled Calaita by Bad Bunny coming up next on the Smash Show. Don't touch that dial. Puerto Rico, I don't know. It is the United States of America. A state clamoring to get statehood, right? And even if you're not trying to get statehood, you're supposed to still have resources, just like every other Americans, though.
Yeah, and I think I mean, we can talk more about your program here, but I think the difficulty is that you have to import everything.
Because it's an island.
It's an island, right? So you're in.
But Alaska does the same thing.
True.
But there's not like a huge amount of headache like what Puerto Rico goes through, because Puerto Rico is in the news almost every time, even before hurricanes and stuff.
Well, and they've been working through some really difficult budget deficits, and
Oh my goodness.
you know they've gone through some very difficult things, and then even now the governor resigned because of some texts and things that he was talking bad about other people. And it's really kind of spiraled, and it's been difficult, and even the
relationship with during Hurricane Maria, right? With Donald Trump saying one thing and the government saying another thing, and it just that went crazy.
Well, and then it was with some run-ins with the mayor.
No, that was the mayor.
The mayor of San Juan, the lady. I can't remember her name. And the island is divided. Because there are some that want statehood, there are some that want the Commonwealth, and there are some that want independence. Right? And so they have three political parties, and so the independents, the Popular Democratic folks, and then the New Progressive group. Right. So the three of them are politics is their daily bread, right? And so they just, and the exciting thing is, but they all vote. I mean, so there's a very high percentage of voting in Puerto Rico as compared to the United States. Over 80%.
But do they have somebody in Washington representing them?
They have a representative in Washington, but they do not have a vote. Right? So again.
But everybody pays taxes still. Like
they would pay
regular American.
They would pay state taxes in Puerto Rico, but they don't pay federal taxes. So some people would then say, well, that's some of the reason that Puerto Ricans don't get a lot of support because they don't pay federal taxes. They pay
like FEMA and stuff, so they don't get FEMA.
They can get FEMA. It's federal aid, but they don't pay into, you would say, they don't pay into the federal pool of federal tax that we pay here in the U.S.
Oh wow, still not fair though.
Yeah, it's it needs an injection of a lot of things.
Wow.
But I'm not from Puerto Rico. I'm from Texas, but my wife could give you a lot more information.
All right. She's from Puerto Rico.
Well, she grew up in Puerto Rico. She's white, but she grew up there since age, 6 months to 25 or something like that.
Toby, how much longer is this song? 40 seconds.
What do we got? Whatever time here.
So let me know when you.
Yeah, let me ask my.
I only have about.
Maybe we can go one more section and then.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Because then I should probably get over to the field to see if the game is. So I don't want to miss that. I don't want to miss the show there. So I'm sorry I'm leave early, but
No, it's okay. It's perfect. All right. We got a wide assortment of songs that we can go through for the rest of the day. Yeah. And we are back on the Smashes Show on Horizon Radio 104.3 FM. The station is bridging cultural diversity with music and information. We still have a special guest in the studios. Gilberto Perez Jr. is here. He's here in the studios pushing the button and making the song come up. And we are going to go on with the last segment of round of questions with our guest. And I want to talk to you about the last event that I think that was the last event we met at. The Business Diversity, what is that called? Business Diversity Initiative Award,
yes.
Which you were one of the recipients. Congratulations. Now, tell us about the business. Tell us about that. What were you recognized for?
Sure. So last year, actually 2 years ago, I was invited by Levon Johnson, who is the executive director of the Elkhart Greater Elkhart Chamber of Commerce, to serve on the board of directors. And so I accepted, was invited, they reviewed my material, I was accepted, and so I served on the board. At the time, Levon was interested in, well, how do we become a more diverse Chamber of Commerce? And how do we reach that business community from the community of color? At Goshen College, about 2 years ago, we started a partnership with the Mexican consulate in Chicago for doing some entrepreneurship workshops for Latino entrepreneurs. And so we started that work doing entrepreneurship workshops in Goshen and Elkhart, and then they got launched in Sturgis, Michigan, and then they moved over to South Bend, and we did a little bit of a workshop down in Indianapolis. And the Mexican consulate at Goshen College were partnering and offering those things. So a lot of the recognition came from the Chamber of Commerce for doing that work. Doing some entrepreneurship workshops with Latino entrepreneurs. The award was also for the recognition from the Business Diversity Initiative. So I helped to start that initiative with other leaders in the community, such as Yolo and Sergio Ortiz, who is now at Leo Barnett in Chicago doing marketing, right? So the initiative that we developed reached different groups, and we would hold. So, for example, they've held some events in the community where invite entrepreneurs to come in, talk about their business, and then also get coaching from the Chamber of Commerce or from SCORE, which offers, these are retired business people who are now helping younger
senior core or retired executives.
Yes, exactly. Right. So they recognized a number of leaders. So a group from that's working with African American communities.
Indiana Black Expo.
Black Expo, that's correct, and a couple of others, several others who are working with the Latino community in entrepreneurship, and there are a lot of exciting things happening with entrepreneurship in our community. You only just have to look right here. This young lady is a person who is doing some really exciting things at DJ work, and she's the future of radio.
Yes,
right?
sir.
She's the future of helping other young people get involved in sharing their story through music and through radio,
Yes,
and bringing people in. So part of the Business Diversity Initiative looks for those types of people and says, what kind of help do you need? Can the chamber help you? Can SCORE help you? And you want to put together a plan of how to expand your program to actually reach more kids. What does that look like, right? So the Business Diversity Initiative would say, hey, let's sit down. Let's talk about that. What is it that you need? And what ideas have you thought of in order to actually launch your idea, your little idea, your big idea, and then you start doing more work in community.
Oh, wow.
And so what the Business Diversity Initiative was recognizing those individuals who they have seen doing good work and wanted to honor them. And so I felt very humbled and very honored that they would have chosen me. I didn't expect that. I didn't know it was coming. And so,
well, congratulations. It was well deserved, though, because you've done something for somebody to recognize that. Now, tell us about your experience on the campaign trail, because we heard that you're a candidate for the city council 5th district. Tell us about what's been going on with that.
Well, the Goshen, working for Goshen team here in Goshen is part of the Democratic Party, and part of my work is to I've been knocking on doors and talking to people about my candidacy, things I'm interested in, which would be, trying to do more business opportunities for, entrepreneurs and Latino and entrepreneurs of color, making sure that our infrastructure in our city is well and it's great and we've got good streets, and supporting the mayor and the department heads who work with those areas. And then also thinking about leadership development for young people. And so what do we do to prepare young people?
Now, the current administration has done something different by including
the youth advisor.
Yeah, exactly. That is awesome. That is amazing. So we're looking forward to see something more in that line, I guess, right?
So there's a youth advisor now, and my goal is to work with the youth caucus and to support them. Potentially, the mayor doesn't know it yet, but this is what the airwaves are for, right?
Yes, sir.
It's exciting for the mayor to launch a youth leadership academy in terms of learning about city government and how do we establish more partnerships with young people, whether it's
if indeed they are the leaders of tomorrow,
we
need to just channel their energy towards that and let them see what it's
exactly. So I am working to meet people in my district. We've got an event coming up on October 26th. We're inviting Latino folks. So it's a very specific event, and we're trying to get them to meet the Working for Goshen candidates. In District 2, we have Jonathan Neufeld. In District 3, we have Jennifer Schell. District 4, Megan Eichhorn, and myself in District 5. And then we have 2 Democratic candidates at large, which they would cover the entire city, which would be Julia King and Charles Moulin, and for sure our fearless leader, Mr. Mayor Jerry Sussman.
Yes.
Leading the core there. And just very excited about his leadership and the ability for him to bring different groups of people together. And so I think many of us candidates right now are really looking to follow his lead and many of the great things that he's brought forth. And folks like Julia King, who was doing an amazing job as an at-large person, but and Adam Scharf, who was also our candidate for city clerk treasurer, making sure that we're able to offer some fresh ideas,
Mhm.
places where we haven't been that we might go there together, and invite the city to think about joining us in being more transparent, being more accountable, building a more inclusive community for who we are here in Goshen.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm running in District 5, and if you live in District 5, which is the south part of Goshen, I encourage you to early vote.
All
And I
right.
also encourage you to vote for Democratic candidates, the working for Goshen candidates. And if you live in my district, ask for your vote and hope that I can serve in a very positive way.
Now, what are some of the new ideas that you garnered from the campaign trail? Like, what are some of the concerns that people have, some of their thoughts
Sure.
that you've learned so far?
Yeah, it's interesting. So one of the things I thought that I was interested in pursuing was this idea of having more parks or a park in the southern part of Goshen.
Mhm.
And as I was knocking on one of the doors, the lady said, we already have parks for children. I'd like a dog park. And so I hadn't really thought of a dog park, but there actually will be a dog park that will be opening up in sort of the North Goshen area.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Now, my final, if
Yes,
you
that's
done
fine. Perfect.
my final question, so that you can get on. I don't want to hold you up because you have something else you need to do. Now, we hear you. So now, how did you make that jump? What interested you to want to be, to run for council in the 5th district? What impact do you want to make, and what are the common issues besides the ones that people have brought up that you want to tackle?
Yeah, I think I decided to run in part because I saw the good work happening with City Council in terms of passing a number of things that are making our city function a lot better.
Mhm.
And there was an opportunity to step into the race as Adam Sharp, who is the current city council representative, wanted to really try his hand he wants to try his hand at being a city clerk treasurer, so that position opened up. And so I put my name in the hat. And I put my name in the hat in part because of what I said. Republicans and Democrats are working well together, and Democrats in the city are bringing some really exciting vision for how do we build community and make it more inclusive. And I thought, well, why wouldn't I want to be a part of that? And that seems like a great opportunity to engage with people. My work in the last number of years of being in community just also cemented in me the idea of it's part of who I am. It's being a good listener. It's being Gilberto for an engaged Goshen. So I'm engaged.
Oh, wow.
And I want people to be engaged, and I want people to come to meetings. And then I'd like to also be a bridge builder between that Latino and that community of color community, where if language is an issue, then we can work to be better communicators because I might be there, or we might be able to bring additional resources as the mayor has with a wonderful employee of Sharon Hernandez, who is the communications director. So very excited about building bridges with that Latino population. They're 30% in our Goshen community, and wanting to get them to vote because their vote counts, and every vote counts. In any election, of course, every vote counts. Locally, it's just it's more positive because you see the results in a more tangible way quickly. Because if you approve a tree planting resolution, then the next thing you know, the probably following day, you see 50 trees being planted.
Yes.
And there's not as much red tape because people know that things want to get done, and that's what Mayor Jeremy Stutzman has done in our community. And the City Council, both Democrats and Republicans, are working well together, and they're trying to make our city better. And so I'm excited to work to get in there. And my situation is that I'm unopposed, so I do not have an opponent.
Yes, sir.
So I will be entering into that spot in January, and just excited for the opportunity to serve with the rest of the people who are elected.
Great time to be a politician in Goshen, where Republicans and Democrats are working together.
Yes.
And we have great people like you who have a track record of success behind their backs.
Thank you.
Looking for, I don't know how to say, looking for the greater good for the people of Goshen. Thank you so much, Gilberto Perez, for coming to the Smasher Show on Horizon Radio. And Oluwatobi is going to be doing the weather forecast, and the Smasher Show is going to be right back after these messages. Weather.
Idris, thank you so much.
This is your weekend weather forecast on Horizon Radio. My name is Eloy Toby, and tonight there will be clear skies with a low of 38. Tomorrow it will be partly cloudy with a high of 66 and a low of 47. And on Sunday it will be partly cloudy again with a high of 67 and a low of 53. Keep listening to 104.3 FM, Horizon Radio.
19.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much. I bet that wasn't that bad, I guess. You're welcome. Want to get a photo?
Okay, great.
So you tonight get a photo. You want to get it?
Además, mandan una lana a cualquier parte del mundo. Grandes especiales en dulces por
All
mayoreo.
right.
Thank you.
Did you get one right there for you? I can get one on your phone too. You want to get one on my phone? So I'll get it. I'll get it.
La sanmarqueña pregunta por nuestras especiales del mes. Un cafecito por la mañana para compartir en familia.
All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Look forward to it. Stop the commercial, play some music. I'll be right back. All right. Can you still make it on time though? Yeah. Stop the lights. No, don't stop the lights.
Envíos de dinero a México, Centro y Sudamérica. Pago de biles y recargas telefónicas. Mayor información a los teléfonos 574-534-7218. 574-534.
And that was a special guest in the studios of Horizon Radio 104.3 FM, Gilberto Perez Jr., a candidate for city council running for the 5th district. It is an awesome time to be in Goshen, Indiana this time. You know, politicians working together hand in hand to take our city to the next level. Amazing gentleman, winner of the Diversity Business Initiative, and is also working for Goshen to take us to where we need to be. 104.3 FM Horizon Radio, this is still the Smasher Show.
Mayor información 574-536-6252. 574-536-6252. Volaterra Party en Event Center, el lugar ideal para tu evento social.